So I guess when I start looking at this, yes, there's a lot of celebrities that are getting into bourbon. There's not going to stop being celebrities that are getting into bourbon. It's going to continually flourish. I think that we have to ask ourselves as from I know that we're probably one of the, in the 1%ers, the 2%ers of bourbon. Like, we know what's going on. We know how to read between the lines. And we have to start thinking, okay, is this a good thing for bourbon? Is this going to grow the category? Or is this a money grab for the people that are just in it? Versus, is this something that could ultimately hurt bourbon over time? Because let's take the Terrasentia part as an example. When I say it's going to hurt bourbon, as somebody that is brand new to whiskey, brand new to bourbon, and they're like, oh my gosh, one of my favorite football players ever has got a bourbon. I got to get this. I'm going to open up. I'm going to drink it. And all of a sudden they drink it. Ugh. What is this? I'm never drinking bourbon ever again.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to lose people.
That's exactly right. And, to Charles's credit, like, he would finish his stuff in his wine barrels, so he would, try to at least add a little bit more flavor to it than what was in there from the rapid aging process. But that was Max Shapira's concern about craft whiskey 15 years ago. I remember when I was kind of green and new in the covering whiskey, he set me in his office and he was like, what do you think about this craft whiskey scene? I think it could be bad because people will think that, rot gut 2-year-old is bourbon. It's not good bourbon. So I think
that's a fair point, though.
That's always a concern.
Yeah, because you got this small town distillery you're going to support, and you're like, oh, I'm going to try their bourbon. And you try, and you're like, oh god,
back to the 6-year-old
Heaven Hill. The
Hill
vodka I was drinking.
But there's also ways of discovery, and a good example is Slipknot's collaboration with Cedar Ridge to do their number 9. No one had ever heard of Cedar Ridge outside of Iowa. I mean, I had, and I'd given them some very bad reviews. I'm not a fan of 80 proof whiskey. I don't think many people are in our world. And they had an 80 proof bottling, and I ripped it to shreds. And Slipknot came out with their number 9 reserve, and it was 99 proof, and it was delicious. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And for most of the whiskey drinkers out there, Slipknot's whiskey was their introduction to Cedar Ridge, who is now in the barrel picking scene, is now on Sealbox, and is in the circles of the bourbon world.
If I remember correctly, there was also a news article that came out that they're the top selling brand in Iowa.
That's right. Yeah.
Over Templeton? In Templeton and all?
Yeah, over Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like they like this, they were always doing well in Iowa, but the Slipknot, which is, they're from Iowa. Iowans are very supportive of Iowans. I think that's probably more so than any state I've ever seen. Like in Kentucky, like, oh, you're from Kentucky, that's nice. We're gonna go over here to Indiana. It's a little different.